So, obviously throughout the years, I've had some crazy things happen to me. But the good news is, most of those things didn't result in me like almost losing my life. A few of them certainly did. But a lot of these stories that I tell, they never end with me like almost dying or something, right? Well, this one does. So I hope you enjoy this story time. Leave a like on the video if you do. It's definitely a really crazy one, so yeah. And let's get into this. So today's story time all takes place a year ago. So this one's kind of recent. It's definitely not, back in 2016 or 17 like a lot of my story times take place. This one's actually relatively recent. And, the reason that a lot of my stories take place so long ago is just because I'm a little boring now. I can't lie. Back in the day I was a little bit more ambitious, a little bit more outgoing, and I was, a little bit more crazy to say the least. Nowadays, I still get into situations. I still talk about those situations. But I don't think they're very crazy compared to like 2016 me, I'm going to stop talking now before I jinx myself and have the most like unlucky year of my life or something. So anyway, yeah, this is a kind of recent one. This takes place about a year ago. Now you guys may also remember from old story times and from watching my videos, I used to be very into exploring abandoned buildings. Me and my buddies, when we were all teenagers, we used to go into these abandoned buildings and explore them and take videos and photos and stuff. And throughout doing that, I've definitely had some crazy things happen to me. But this has got to be like top 3. So anyway, today's story time all starts off about a year ago, okay? At this point, I have not explored an abandoned building in a very long time. I was kind of over that phase in my life, and since I, hit my 20s, I don't really do it that much because, first of all, it's technically illegal to go into most abandoned buildings because they're still owned by somebody, and you're trespassing technically. Also, they can be full of shit like asbestos or like dust, and the structure can be, not safe, and you might fall, like that kind of stuff. So I was kind of over it at this point, and I hadn't done it in a very long time. So yeah, like a year ago, I was sitting on my couch in my living room, just like wasting away on the couch watching TV. I had already gotten my video done for the day. I had already, wrote some music that day. Pretty much all my priorities that I usually did every day were out of the way. So I was just wasting away on the couch watching Netflix, right? And I get a phone call, a FaceTime to be specific, and this FaceTime was from one of my old buddies that I used to go and explore abandoned buildings with. And I hadn't talked to this kid in like 2 years, so the fact he was FaceTiming me kind of like shocked me. I wasn't expecting to hear from him. I answer the phone, and I was like, "What's up, man?" And he's like, "Yo, long time no talk, how you been?" And I was like, "Good, dude, how you been?" And he's like, "Pretty good, bro. I've just been reminiscing kind of on our old friend group and the things we used to do, and I was thinking about you, and I wanted to see how you were doing, so I got your number through Cody, and I called you up." Now, we both had a mutual friend from our hometown named Cody, and that's, how we met each other. So it was cool of him to hit Cody up and get my number and, keep in touch essentially, right? And we're just catching up. We spent like 20 minutes of this FaceTime call talking, just kind of shooting the shit, catching up, right? And then he proposes this idea. He's like, "Yo, so I've been thinking, I want to explore another abandoned building. I haven't done it in years. I miss it. I know you haven't done it in a while. What do you think?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. To be honest, like I've been kind of over that for a while. I feel like I'm getting too old to do it." He's like, "Bro, you're in your early 20s. What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, but like when we were 18, it felt like we would get kind of a pass if like we got caught or something. But now we're like in our 20s and I feel like we're more like adults. I don't know. I just feel like we're going to get in trouble." He's like, "Bro, I got this place. I found it online on this forum, right? It's an abandoned factory where they used to make like paper and stuff. And like nobody maintains it. There's no security, no cops. Like I promise, bro. The people that put this spot up, like they're reputable. Like they wouldn't lie about this kind of stuff." And I was like, "All right, dude, listen. If you can get like a group of people to go, I will go. I just don't want to go with a small group. So not just me and you, not just me, you and like Cody. Get like 4 or 5 people." And he's like, "Okay." So he went and he got 2 more people on board. So it was going to be me, him, Cody, and then 2 other people. So 5 all in total. And that was my deal. I said if you can get like 5 total people, then I would do it. So fast forward like 2 days later, it was the time to do it. So he pulled up to my house with everybody. I got in the car and we drove off to this abandoned building, this like abandoned factory. And honestly, I was kind of like feeling a little bit nervous because I hadn't done it in so long. But also I was feeling kind of excited because I hadn't done it in so long. I was feeling like that like reminiscing feeling of, me being 18 and like going out with all my friends. It just felt like old times kind of. So that was cool to have all my friends back together. So we get to this building, and my friend wasn't lying. It was very much a big abandoned factory that like used to make paper or something. So there was paper all over the floor when we walked in there. And the front door was just wide open, by the way. Like, there was no window we had to climb through, nothing we had to, like, struggle to get into. It was just an easy, like, open door, right? And he wasn't kidding. There was no cops. There was no security. Nobody else was in there from what I could see. We had flashlights, and essentially, it just looked like a giant abandoned building. So I was relieved that this was, like, my first one back, because it really was just a chill, quiet spot that no one really knew about, and no security, no cops. So, yeah. Anyway, we started exploring. The first 30 minutes of exploring was very fun. We walked around the first floor, kind of just took it all in, checked it all out. It was cool. And then we get to the second floor. And this is where things get a little bit interesting, okay? And by a little bit, I mean a lot. So we go up to the second floor, and we decide to split up. Now, you never split up in a big, creepy, abandoned building. That's just like horror movie 101 right there. You do that, and like bad things happen, right? So we're going around the second floor, and I'm exploring with the flashlight, and I walk into this one room, and this room was a lot more decayed than the rest of the second floor. Honestly, it was probably the most decayed room in the entire building. Even the first floor wasn't this bad. And the reason why, it was because there was a giant window in this room, and it was left open probably since it was abandoned, right? So all of this moisture and rain and weather and snow, all this crap, right, got into the window and was like rotting out the floor, rotting out all the stuff in the room, rotting out the walls. Like, the whole room was just completely rotted and fucked up and wet, essentially. So it definitely looked really bad, and I shouldn't have walked in there. I remember looking at it, and like before I stepped into the room, I was like, the integrity of this floor probably isn't very good. It looks like it's been wet and, full of moisture for probably years. I probably shouldn't step on it. But then I thought about it a little bit further, and I was like, you know what? I'm a pretty thin guy. I don't weigh that much. I'll probably be okay. Let me just take a quick step in here and look around, and then I'll step out. And guys, I shit you not. I took one step into this room, onto this like wet floor that looked pretty weak, and it took not even 3 seconds of standing on this floor, and I start hearing noises like creaking, and I get a bad feeling, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to step off and get back in the hallway and get out of this room, right? So I lift my left foot, right, to take a step out of the room and get out of this room because I had a bad feeling that something might happen because of the sounds I was hearing. And I couldn't even take this step, bro. The entire fucking floor gives out underneath me. You know those rides at like carnivals and stuff where you sit down and it brings you to the top and then it just drops you like randomly? That's what it felt like. The entire floor just gives out and it drops me. But unlike a carnival ride, I had no seatbelt. I didn't expect this, and it was probably a whole lot more dangerous. So yeah, the floor gives out, and I start falling from the second floor to the first, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, I just closed my eyes and like thought that I was dead. I can't lie. The second floor drop to the first floor was not a very short one. It was relatively long, to be honest, and high up, so there was a giant part of me that thought I was gonna die. I can't lie. So I just closed my eyes, I stayed as straight as I possibly could and kept my feet down, like flailed my arms and stuff in the air, and I end up landing on an old desk, and it was made of wood, so it was all rotted out and gross, and essentially my legs went right through it, and I just went right through this desk and put a big hole in it, and then I hit the ground. But honestly, I'm glad that I fell where I did, because even though it was an old, rotted out wooden desk and it didn't feel very good, the rotting, like wet wood kind of broke my fall when I went through it, and underneath it was all concrete. So if that desk wasn't there and I just hit the concrete floor, I think it would have been a lot worse. I probably would have broke both my legs or like worse. Who knows, right? So anyway, I fall onto this desk. I hurt myself pretty bad. I got splinters all over my legs. I'm bleeding a little bit. I don't feel very good, right? I'm definitely worried that I broke my ankle or my leg or something. So it definitely hurt pretty bad. And I look up into like the second floor because now there's a giant hole, right? And I see all of my friends poke their heads through it. And they're like, yo, what the fuck just happened? And I was like, I fell through the floor. And they're like, are you good? And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, yo, stay there. We're coming down. So they run down to the first floor. They like walk over to me. They're kind of checking me out, making sure I'm good. They're like looking at my legs, seeing if there's any like giant cuts or, like scrapes. And for the most part, I was like, okay. I wasn't like unable to walk. I had some like cuts and bruises, but nothing crazy. And I thought, you know what? Let me just see how I do tonight. I'm not gonna go to the hospital. I'm not gonna go to the doctor. I'm just gonna like see how I feel in the morning. So we left the building. We cut the exploration kind of short because, you know, your boy fell through the floor. So that was a good excuse to leave early. And I went home and kind of just like chilled for the rest of the night, went to sleep. The next morning I woke up and there was definitely some swelling on my leg, my right one. And it definitely hurt a little bit to walk. So just to be safe, I went to the urgent care down the street from my house and I got an x-ray to make sure my leg wasn't broken. And it wasn't. And the doctor came in after the x-ray and he was like, "So what happened?" And I was like, I was exploring an abandoned building and I fell through the floor. And he's like, "What? You fell through the floor? Like, how high up was it?" I was like, "I don't know, like a pretty good height, but luckily a desk broke my fall." He's like, "A desk? You fell on a desk?" I'm like, "Yeah, but it was like rotted, so it was kind of like softer than normal wood." And he's like, "Maybe you shouldn't do that anymore." And I was like, "Yeah, you're probably right." And he's like, "Seriously though, you got really lucky. Like, you're okay. Just take it easy and maybe refrain from going into any abandoned buildings for a while, okay?" And I was like, "Thank you." And yeah, after that, I just went home, texted my homies about it, and they were excited to hear that I was all good. There was just like some mild swelling, and I was good. But yeah, moral of the story is, don't do what Austin does. Never do what I do. This all could have been avoided if I just went with my gut feeling. So yeah, guys, that's the story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
I be fully loaded, I be whipping foreign cars. Always stay devoted, mama knew I'd be a star. Now I'm steady flowing.